Hi, this is Pim from Smart Diabetics Academy. Today I'm going to share with you the 4 must-haves for an efficient diabetes diet plan. So in this video, I'm going to go through the 4 most important components of an efficient diabetes diet plan. So let's start with the actual food. Since diabetes is actually a metabolic disorder, we need to consider food choices before anything else. And if you're new to this channel, if you haven't seen a lot of my content, I would like to urge you to go back and watch through some of my previous videos that cover the diet and what diabetes is and why it's so important that we consider food to be our first treatment option, and so that you understand why that is so important. But in short, you need to keep your blood sugar low and balanced without excessive blood sugar swings, because these spikes in blood sugar will do some serious damage to your body. So we want to avoid that at pretty much all costs. So the foods that give you these big blood swings are processed foods, and especially processed foods or any foods that contains a lot of carbohydrates. Whether that be sugar or starches doesn't really matter. Sugar-rich foods might give you a larger spike, and then maybe if you're on medication, etc., maybe you will get hypoglycemia after that. But no matter what, even if you are eating starches, they release slightly slower, but your blood sugar is still going to go up, and that is still going to do some damage and not be very good for you. It's not as bad as the sugar, but it's pretty bad anyway. So you want to avoid all of that. So when it comes to diet, what you want to do, you really ought to eat a low carb, high fat diet. And the reason that you want to have high fat is because A, fat doesn't have any impact on your insulin or blood sugar, and B, it can actually help you smooth out that blood sugar response that you get to any food that you're eating. Plus, it's a great fuel source. And once you get used to using fat as fuel, you will have unlimited amounts of energy, and you will not feel that afternoon I need a nap feeling or have a brain fog, etc. So when you get fat adapted, life is actually pretty good, because you will never be out of energy. Literally, you won't be as tired. And it also supports your immune system, your nervous system. It supports your hormones. All of those things will correct themselves if you have any problems with that. And usually diabetics do, unfortunately. So don't be afraid to add a little bit of extra fat on your meals. The good variety, of course, skip the vegetable oils. So moving on. The second thing that you want to do is that you want to start to eat in a way that supports your hormones. And I'm talking about all your hormones, but specifically insulin. So insulin works best early in the day, which means that you have a better blood sugar response to anything that you eat early in the day than you have if you eat the same thing late in the day. So no more late snacking, okay? No more popcorn and ice cream in front of Netflix. Not that you should be eating those foods anyway, but that is just really, really bad for you. Okay, so thirdly, what you need to do is that you have to build a good relationship with food. And this might sound a little bit wishy-washy to some of you, but if you are eating for pleasure and to make yourself feel better in the moment, it's going to be very, very hard for you to stick with any diet long term, because you are going to have moments in your life where you don't feel great. And if your cover-up for that is to go to food, then that's what you're going to want to be doing. So when you can learn to be okay with actually just feeling your feelings, you won't have to use food to make yourself feel better or to make these feelings go away. And you can start focusing on eating the foods that actually make you feel good. Doesn't that sound like great? Like I can just allow my emotions to be there. I can feel a little bit down, but I don't have to go to the ice cream and the cookies, because that is just a very short reward for you. You feel good in the moment, and then you feel pretty lousy afterwards. And for some of you, You might have blood sugar swings for a week after such an event. So that's not really a good solution. And you can start doing this by just paying attention to what is going through your mind just before you experience that food craving. So just the next time you have a craving, like, try to pick up on what's actually happening in your brain and how that craving makes your body feel. What's happening? I've said this before, but I usually start salivating. I might feel a little bit tension here. You're different from me. You're probably going to feel something different. Maybe you have some of the same body experiences as me, but not necessarily. So it's important that you kind of start looking at that and recognize what is happening in your body, so that whenever that is happening, you can pick up on that very early and notice that, oh, this is a craving and there's nothing more to it. It's not an emergency situation that you need to solve right now. And once you can do that, just know that that feeling is there and sit with it. Let it be there. It might be uncomfortable, but to just let it be there and just let the moment pass without giving in to the craving, that's how you learn to overcome the cravings. And that's how you start to rewire your brain to react differently to the cravings, so that you don't have to put this effort in the future. But it takes a little bit of effort and a little bit of practice before you can get there. Right, so the last part is support. Without support, you're unfortunately very likely to fail, I must say. I'm very sorry to bring the bad news, but that's just the case. So you can do this together with someone. If you have a friend or something that you can commit to doing this together, that's quite fun. You have some accountability, you have someone to report to, someone to discuss problems with. That's great. You won't be doing it alone, and that alone will help you a great deal. There are also multiple Facebook groups that you can join. Sometimes Facebook groups are great, but usually people just post about what they're doing, etc. If it's a Facebook group that is based on, let's say, a group program or something, it can be really, really good, because then there's probably some sort of coach that facilitates the thing, and there are other people experiencing the same thing that you're experiencing, going through the same process as you, and that is quite powerful. So that's absolutely something that you can look into. And then obviously the best thing to do, if you can afford it and if you want to make that investment in yourself, your time, and make this happen, is to get a coach of some kind. So this is quite interesting, because usually we want to think of coaches as something that just athletes have, and we don't really think that we shouldn't have one. Why should I have one? But to be honest, the first time I got a coach, and it took me a long time before I got there, because I'm a person that wants to learn everything from scratch so that I can do it for myself. But I always thought I could do everything on my own, but the results speak for themselves. And when I got the coach the first time, it was like they just take you through this whole process. You don't have to do the thinking, you just have to do the doing. Whatever your coach is telling you to do, or whatever my coach was telling me to do, I was doing that. And when you can commit to just doing whatever the coach is telling you to do, you will get the results. But trying to do that for yourself rarely works. And the reason that all high-level athletes have a coach is because they can't see their downfalls. They can't notice these things themselves. They are good at their sport, but they're not necessarily good at knowing how to do it, spot any obstacles on the way, and a coach is there to help them do that. The coach is not usually a very good athlete, but they know exactly what the athlete needs to do to get there. So when you get someone who can help you, guide you through what you need to do, you're very likely to succeed. So the odds are literally turned around. When they've done research on this, they've seen that people who have a fatal illness and need to change the diet in order to survive, only 10% of those people actually change the diet, which to me is kind of crazy, because your life is literally on the line and still only 10% do it. But when you have a coach, 90% of people succeed. It just speaks for itself. So yeah, if that's something that you're committed to doing and you have the funds, I would recommend that you do that. And so having a coach is also a really good way of, you know, fast tracking something. You could potentially do this yourself. And I'm not saying that it's impossible, but what I managed to do with a coach in 3 months is probably something that I'm thinking like I couldn't have done that myself, but maybe with a lot of reading, a lot of practice and dedication, I could maybe have done that. But I'm thinking that might have taken me 10 years or so, because I'm not really great at following through when I'm just reading and watching videos, etc. So that's kind of the key to everything. If you want something to happen, if you want to get some results, make sure that you do it. Even if you're doing it on yourself, you can still be in those 10%. It's just less likely that you're going to succeed, but there are still 10% of people that do succeed. And if you actually do the things, and if you can discipline yourself to do it, you can get there. So if you want some more help and guidance on how to put together your perfect diabetes diet plan, I have actually prepared a training that covers that. And all you have to do is go down to the comments or check in the description, and I have posted a little URL or a link there. So if you click that one, it will take you to a sign up page where you just put your name, your email in, and it will give you access to the training. So it doesn't cost anything, but you can go there and check that out. So I hope this has given you some ideas for how to move forward with your diet and getting control of your blood sugar. And if you have any questions, you can just leave a comment under this video. If it's more of a private issue, you will find my email address down in the description as well, so you can just send me a message. And before you go, please can you just give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Give it several thumbs up, by the way. And press that bell icon, because that will mean that YouTube will let you know whenever I post a new video. So I will see you in the next video. Bye!